Hello, I'm Higranot, and you're watching another part of Nextera Academy's Introduction to Theory of Constraints. This session is about strategy, the theory of constraints way. I assume that when you get to this session, you already watched the previous ones, so you get a feeling of what is the overall content of the theory of constraints body of knowledge to business and to management. Strategy, the theory of constraints way, is a form of accumulation or joining of multiple of the different solutions presented earlier into one coherent growth and profit strategy for businesses. We start with what is the purpose of strategy, as I find it oftentimes quite confusing when I work with companies and I see how they treat their strategy. Um, The purpose of strategy is for the company to have a sound plan that can clearly demonstrate how the company can pay attention to the clearly demonstrate how the company can make money now as well as in the future, provide secure and satisfying environment to employees now as well as in the future, and provide satisfaction to the market. Market meaning any external entity that is critical for the survival of the company now as well as in the future. Essentially, it is how the company can be on a process of ongoing improvement. The important thing is to understand the clearly demonstrate and possibly also to pay attention to the horizon we talk about. I find a confusion around it as I see companies dealing with next year strategy. Next year is not a strategy, next year is more of a tactics. It's a plan that can be executed, monitored, and the level of uncertainty is relatively low. And more than that, the important differentiator is that it deals with next year. It doesn't deal with building a lasting infrastructure for a longer horizon. The strategy is about building an infrastructure that will last for a significant period of time. As always, with theory of constraints, we'll start with what to change. And will that to understand that, we need to look at how is the common way companies deal with preparing a strategy. So commonly, the process of designing the future strategy of the company starts with whatever shape or form, SWOT or other, that the company is mapping at the improvement opportunities. Um, Hopefully, they think they would identify all. Um, Practically, they will identify those they can. Uh, Another improvement opportunities, there are two specific groups that are th things the company can improve on, the opportunities outside the company that will enable profitable growth. When this list is ready, oftentimes the company looks at it at oh and kind of, wow, it's a long list. We can't do all of those. So we need to find a way to rank these opportunities. And most ranking opportunities are uh, quantitative, although sometimes they didn't tend to give a false feeling of, sorry, they are qualitative, although sometimes they give a false feeling that they are quantitative. When we have the list ranked, we have to decide from the top how many we can take upon ourselves as a commitment and how many will be delayed for a future period. And then when they put the line and they know that in the coming horizon of plan, they will be focusing on X number of initiatives. The initiatives are then planned, manned, get responsibilities, and the implementation starts. The common result is that most companies, when they have a strategic plan, find themselves running simultaneously multiple improvement initiatives in multiple areas. All initiatives are taken in a way that assumes they can be executed independently, that all the improvement opportunities identified initially can be handled one at a time or some at a time, but separately one from the other, that they are not having any connectivity between them, and that the results accumulated in each one of the initiatives will accumulate to the result of the strategy as a whole. However, there are a few expected effects of running multiple initiatives at the same time. One is that in retrospect, when you look at the achieved results, it is impossible for the company to know which of the initiatives have contributed what to the result experienced. In a sense, if two initiatives are being executed at the same time, and after executing them, the company got a result of plus 10, the plus 10 can be a result coming of two initiatives, each one contributing 5, two initiatives, one contributing plus 8 and the other plus 2, or two initiatives, one contributing plus 20 and the other minus 10. In retrospect, had we known about the minus 10, maybe we would have not taken it. The attention given to any of these initiatives is insufficient. The attention is spread and leading to the fact that the unavoidable result that each one of them takes longer than planned, and the results achieved in each one of them are less than the results expected, and oftentimes even generating negative effects. When we assume that there is independency between all of these opportunities for improvement, it is highly likely we will not choose the initiatives that are leading to capturing most of the opportunities. We will not identify those opportunities which lie in the bottom of the cause and effect. So the result is that the more we do, the less we get, but people tend to measure themselves in the level of how much they are occupied. So the fact that they are doing many things gives them the false sensation of progress. Actually, the real thing is that the progress is smaller than was possible, or worse, it is not progressing at all. So the key in the theory of consent strategy is the focusing. The focusing starts with understanding that in the future, irrespective of the current situation of the company, in the future, the right place for the constraint of the company to be, and it will get there if the company will do the right things in the present. The company will need to create a strategy which is based on a meaningful market differentiation, a lasting competitive advantage. This can be achieved by the company introducing changes in its modes of operation that can affect meaningfully the market perception of value. And as different customers have different needs, through understanding the different needs of the customers, we can do an effective market segmentation by basically what type of problems we can solve for each market segment. In other words, if two markets have somewhat different list of undesirable effects, they are inherently segmented, and we can offer different value proposal to each one. If we are doing such a change, one of the positives that we will experience is it will make it very difficult for competitors to imitate. Price strategies, product strategies, geographical expansion strategies, if they are successful, are relatively easy to imitate. These are the key considerations that need to be taken. Others are to make sure that we do not become a monopoly in any market. It is good to keep presence in less lucrative markets, as they provide a safety against the fluctuations of the market and an opportunity for future growth. It is important that companies will not be based only on one market segment, as markets tend to fluctuate, and when a market goes down, you would like to have another market that doesn't go down at the same time. So these are essential components of a strategy. How do we cause the change? We use a tool called the strategy and tactics tree. And this tool is very unique and important, as in contrast to the common way strategies are being designed. This tool is forcing the management to understand and document the cause and effect relationships between the different changes that the strategy will have as part of achieving the desired performance of the future. So every one of the entities has two key entities inside them, any one of these levels of the tree. One is a strategy that is answering the question of what for, what is the objective of the change we are implementing. And the second is the tactics, which answers how are we going to generate or achieve this change. In between those entities, there are assumptions. Assumptions are linking the entities one to the other. The necessary assumption or assumptions are linking a bottom entity to a top one. A sufficiency assumption is doing the other way around, is linking the top entity to the bottom one. And the parallel assumptions are connecting the strategy to the tactics. So why do we claim that the tactics will unavoidably lead to the strategy? Being forced to document all of the assumptions has a great value. One, because it enables us to make sure that our logic is sound right now. Two, because even if in the future something will not happen as expected, we will be able to find what assumption we had originally, which is wrong, see what is the actual situation, change it accordingly, and keep the strategy operational and intact without giving up on anything. And the strategy and tactics tree is sequenced. By and large, it is from left to right. Of course, it does not go linearly, but this is the concept. Putting all of this together gives us a coherent strategy that includes a differentiating value proposal to the market, all the changes the company needs to do in order to achieve and sustain and exploit the new market advantage, and the growth plan, how to handle the growth after the launch of this proposal to the market. So strategy is a forward-looking plan. It is designed to define, detail, and sequence the changes the company needs to make so it can profitably grow for a lasting period. It cannot be a random collection of initiatives. This is sadly very common, but very ineffective. It must be based on ways that the company can create and sustain a lasting competitive advantage in large enough markets through changing rooted policies and paradigms, so making it much more difficult to competitors to imitate. And the strategy and tactics tree provides an infrastructure for the management to jointly develop, understand, validate, manage, control, and modify the strategy as it being executed. Thank you for being with us this time again. Any questions, any feedback is highly appreciated, so please share with us, and looking forward to seeing you in the next session. Thank you. Bye-bye.